This will be a quick update video on the results of my previous experiments and one of my latest attempts at making batteries from carbon. First of all, the binder recipes I have been using are not working good enough. The ink doesn't stay attached to the graphite foil when it gets wet with the electrolyte. With a little scrubbing, I was able to completely remove all the ink I put on. The batteries do take a charge, but there is still a higher self-discharge rate than there should be. A previous larger all-carbon cell would hold a charge at least overnight, but the latest ones wouldn't hold much even after just an hour. I think the 10% binder by weight must be the weight of dry binder and not the liquid weight of the concrete additive or polyurethane I have been using. I need to do a lot more testing to get the binder and ink formula right, so I'm not going to keep posting videos of those experiments until I get it figured out. My homemade carbon is not bad, but not as good as the commercial activated carbon, so I'm going to start using the commercial carbon for my tests, partially because it is more conductive but mostly because it will be easier than making my own. I will probably keep experimenting with my own carbons after I get the binder problem solved and see what the commercial carbon works like. In the meantime, I have been thinking about turning the Epsom salt I had been using as an electrolyte into sodium sulfate. I haven't gotten the calculations worked out, but mixing baking soda with the Epsom salt in the right proportions should produce the sodium sulfate I want and magnesium hydroxide, which may have some use as a refractory material for making or repairing a kiln. Heat and time is needed to get this reaction to happen, but a quick test produced a precipitant and the remaining liquid worked as an electrolyte, so it might be an option to get a better electrolyte using common chemicals. Another thing I have been experimenting with was soaking pieces of the synthetic chamois cloth in some conductive ink to make a sort of conductive felt. The binder problem is not figured out yet, so the carbon is still not staying put, but the small tests I have done are looking better than just painting the carbon directly onto the graphite foil. It is also holding the charge much better. The main disadvantage is the thickness of the cells will be considerably more than just painting the carbon onto the graphite foil, but it is easy to produce and will have a lot more carbon, so might hold more power.